Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka... And we are back with another Twitter thread. This one may fill up the cope tanks. If you're unfamiliar, this weekend, Odion won YCS Lille thanks to a combination of exceptional play, a meta where every Dominus trap was relevant, and an overboarding for Mitsurugi and Yummy decks. I want to know what other rogue strategies you think could take down a huge tournament if and only if all of the stars align. And I'm beginning with Goblin Bikers, which could easily win a YCS even without the help of the Memento cards, if only every other top deck was an Xyz strategy. There are 0 must-answer spells and traps, no one is playing Bistials, and of course, Dark Ruler and Pals are banned. House rules. Let's see what you all came up with. Dyer says, the stars already aligned in January 2024, and I wasn't good enough to win an event with it. I should have done better, and now it'll never be good again. I missed my chance. The actual answer for Generaider is, it can win anything, provided you win all your die rolls, you hand loop your opponents meaningfully every time, and no one plays fucking evenly matched. Lithium says, one day. If it's gonna be anybody, it's gonna be you. Just don't brick in for a Dino variant to win a YCS, whether it's Dino Mitsu, Ryu-Ge, Pure, or with Jurak. The fact UCT is crazy card and will kill you out of nowhere going second, space, and the fact, space, Misk even at 1 will just win you game if you don't fumble. First off, true. Second off, the thing about Dino is that first sentence, just don't brick with the Dino variant, is the killer sentence. Jeff's got a great one. Junk Speeder has never failed me in must-win going first Challenger Cups. And if we ever get Spellbreaker or heavy decks again, no breakers, break Synchron plus 10 draws. This is absolutely true. The thing about Junk Speeder is that it is really, really good in a situation where you can guarantee you are going first, which of course Master Duel has in spades, but also it's really good against cards like Super Polymerization and Dark Ruler No More, yada, 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 not only because it can find powerful counter traps that turn into Lingering Floodgates as part of its setup combo, it also just draws 10 cards. So post-board, you're allowed to just play like Anti-Spell and you'll find it. I miss this deck a lot, and I loved doing just that. Junk has a good one. RB Earth Machine. Only if my opponent is nice, does not ash me, isn't playing those stupid meta decks and none of that dumb negate stuff. Even then, I think it's very possible you open a hand of just the GA10s and just go, what am I doing with my life? I don't care what you put in your thumbnails, peeps. You know these cards are mid. Here's how they can still win. Every top deck relies on a 1 of extra deck monster or over half their extra, and they cannot be recurred. There is no main deck removal being played in or out of engine. Droll is not in the format. No bricking allowed. Sounds good. I think it's possible. I think it could happen. Board breaker format. Rabbit plus Azurine plus Diabells on end board equals 3 board breakers to resolve 1 and pray they aren't traps and quick play spells. No Droll. Top deck's not having solutions against a Darklight Chaos Angel. Well, that last one did happen for a pretty significant amount of time and it still wasn't enough. I still believe that the Illusion Slop Chimera deck could start taking names. I just don't know when it's going to happen. Any day now. Chimera format. Just a week away. This deck is unironically really good. You don't have to sell me on Solfachord. I think this deck is baller. And it can deep draw for Kyoto Waterfront off of Saruya, and then its end boards are just nigh unbreakable. Just needs to win the die roll and for no one to board into Droplet or Dark Ruler. Okay, well that is a tall order, but I believe in you. Any deck that has Exodia could win a YCS given enough time. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to take like a million monkeys piloting a million Jeff Leonard FTKs. My friend has one-tricked and sauced me with Azamina White Forest for a while now. It's a deck with flexible play lines and end boards to account for different metas. I firmly believe the only reason it hasn't seen more results is that Droll acts as a load-bearing hand trap. The thing about Azamina is that when we did the TMT for it, we were playing fucking sales ban for Droll. And that was a common tactic. We were not alone. As people decide that hand traps are no good against Yummy, and Odion amplifying the fact that hand traps aren't good in the meta, this secret FTK deck can easily dominate by hand ripping and setting up a water statue while also being very efficient at going second. Expect water soon. I don't think this is a particularly well-kept secret. Water is just outside the edges of the metagame. They were like, oh, no more Bahamut Shark? Okay, don't worry about this deck anymore. No, you should worry. It's not the negates that'll get you, it's the hand rip. Now, just like the last one, there is a little twink that might complicate things for you. Still shocking to me that Maliss hasn't won a major event yet, despite spending the last year being between the 1st and 5th deck just because sighting kills it into the sun. With players dropping Lancia and Chunter, I think it could win an event. It only won Bosnian Nats, Swiss Nats, Costa Rican Nats, Dominican Republic Nats, Honduran Nats, Mexican Nats, Western Australian states, French Nats, South American WCQ, Belgian Nats, Israeli Nats, Hungarian Nats, Irish Nats, formats, Central American WCQ and the European WCQ playoff. And I'm not seeing America. There are two things holding Mimighoul back: Droll and Dominus Impulse. A lot of Droll in this thread. If we ever enter a format without either of those two in main, I'd expect some random pilot to take a large event. This deck is just so difficult to properly interact with and plays on a different access. Peeps alt. Listen, I think there are going to be metas where you're not going to encounter Droll and Lockbird. I think there are going to be very few metagames in which Dominus Impulse isn't suspect for play somewhere. The shout has to be Purrely. X Noir is one of the best cards ever printed. The recoverability of the deck with My Friend and Stray Street is insane. It's a towers deck that can also OTK out of nowhere, but you need a whole run with no D-Barrier, no Goddess, no Kaijus, and no Mitsu. And depending on the hand, no Droll either. Droll again, wow. Also, hasn't Purrely won a YCS? Am I crazy? Pack won a 3v3? Does that count? I still believe Raidraptor could find its time in the sun. In order for it to be a contender, the meta has to both not include Impulse, not play Valor Imperm for the Wise Tricks. I think also it's going to have to not have a Towers out, and with Luna Light in the metagame, you are never getting that opportunity. Buster Blader would absolutely dominate a YCS if and only if, 1, every single top deck is a Dragon deck, or every deck ends on a Dragon End boss, 2, back row removal isn't heavily played in favor of hand traps or other spell traps, and 3, Ash Blossom specifically isn't in the format. We had 2 of those 3 during Dragon Link format, and I remember Fuji doing all right with this strategy, but it never translated to any YCS wins, no. I've beaten Ryu-Ge exactly 0 times. Every time I play the deck, I wonder why it doesn't see play. I just wouldn't post this. Honestly, if that was true, I just would not post it.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
DDD. Okay, so to be clear, DDD is playable now, but probably won't win a YCS. I do like these stipulations. The Charmies get taken out back and shot. Rivalry is the best floodgate and goes to 3 copies. There's no link decks, so all the old-ass floodgates this deck runs actually work. And Mitsurugi gets demolished, so nobody runs Droll. I await it. Argo stars. They already have a non-target, non-once per turn bounce, negate field spell, 3 searchers, and Audra is busted out the ass. To win a YCS, we'd have to be back in 2008. However, I think it has a good shot. Okay, all right. Okay. Nobody plays any Bestials. Nobody plays any Banished Floodgates. Everyone maxes on Charmies instead of less impactful hand traps. No called by. 1 of 20. It would take a lot. It would take a lot. Seriously close. So close the amount of gas this deck has. Nib just needs to be banned, and Droll, and Dark Ruler no more. You know, I'm realizing that these 3 hand traps keep showing up. They keep showing up. Do you think Tearlament could win a YCS? Honestly, I don't think Tearlament could ever win a YCS. What I've learned from this thread is that Droll and Lockbird cannot be banned under any circumstances. That the second that little twink goes out to pasture, then you all are going to start doing some absolutely nonsensical setups. Hold the door, Droll. Hold the door. Branded Despia could win if every opponent was willing to let me win based solely on how petite and fragile I am. Scarlon said, Branded has so many YCS wins. Scarlon, we ain't talking about that shit. There's something else going on in this post.